Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome to pre-market update. Futures right now are flat to green. Most of the futures, you can see S&P 500 futures now bouncing from the neutral white zone in the middle here. They were yesterday extremely overbought in the sell zone, and as soon as market opened, they started dumping it. You can see consistent dump from the sell zone. So it was a very good short. Now this gap is still not filled. Okay, the gap is around 5,300. Let me show you where that gap is. If I go to um, like a daily chart, maybe that's better. Let's see MES 1 hour. You can see this gap up happened on Tuesday after I think 6 p.m. Tuesday to Monday to Tuesday. There was an announcement, I think. So yeah, so you can see this gap. So they could bring it back here if they want to. So that would be a good entry if you want to go long there. Let's see how things shape up. So that's the gap here. Same thing, similar story on Nasdaq. That gap is still not filled. It's here. Now, if they really want to, like, trick everybody, futures can go around 2% down Nasdaq and then they can recover. So just keep that in mind in the back of your head. This gap is filled on Russell. Oh, sorry, this is Dow Jones, so we can get rid of that. You can see that. And this one is Russell, very close to filling that gap as well. Bitcoin. All right. So Bitcoin, same thing here, was extremely overbought. You can see we're in the red zone from last couple of days, and it had to come down to cool off a bit. So it came to like green zone, touched it here exactly to the dot, 91,692, and now it's in the neutral zone. So you can see the zones, buy and sell zones here. Ethereum, same thing here, was very, very bullish last couple of days, now just cooling down a bit. So I'll show you on daily chart the reason for cooling down. Everything is still looking good. Let's look at other charts. Guys, please hit the like button while I'm looking at these charts. Only takes 1 second to hit the thumbs up button. I really appreciate that. Okay, so this is on point of control, S&P 500. You can see yesterday's session was mostly around 5,400. They created a point of control today's session, pre-market, and now around 5388. So again, so I said yes, like yesterday there was this like not a lot of uh, like a air gap here. Okay, usually we like to see some kind of channel, so it's a air gap. So they could bring it back here. Sorry, just to fill this gap and have this bring price here and see what happens between buyers and sellers. So that's from where we are right now. That's about 1.36 away percent away on S&P 500. So just keep that in mind. Now, on the other side, they could pump it, and the other short entry would be here around 5600 to 5680. So just keep that in mind on S&P 500. And this is a daily chart on SPX. So you can see a gap to the downside. Yesterday was a huge gap up on S&P 500. You can see yesterday nice gap up and consistent selling throughout the session. But again, managed to close green, and right now it's flat in the session in the pre-market. SPY is pretty much flat here. You can see here. So where do we go from here? All right, we could rally. All right, we could rally and then come back down to fill some of these gaps. You can see this is bottom is happening here around 15th of May. So we'll keep an eye on that. So right now we could go still higher. Now there is a gap on the top around 56.54, 58.26 and 61.36. So keep that in mind. Okay, so from the path perspective, what I think we could happen is we could rally fill this gap and then come back down to fill this gap and then keep going higher. All right, something like this. So create change a trend. Now, in order to change a trend, we need to close above this previous high. So this is daily chart. We were not able to close above this previous high. This was a rally. Try one time, now trying second time, still not able to close. So that's not really good. Very weak effort from buyers. We really want to close above uh, this previous high. That will be a change in trend on 1 hour chart and daily chart. So we're looking for that and we are waiting patiently for that. Same thing on Nasdaq. Okay, we want to see change in trend again. Gap up yesterday and consistent selling. If you go to 1 hour chart, gap up, consistent selling throughout the day. So we want to see this previous high broken out and then start filling some of these upper gaps. Inversely, they could come back down, fill this bottom gap, and then bounce later on. Dow Jones, same thing here, very close to filling this gap. IWM also, well, IWM is a bit stronger, but kind of flat right now. Again, it could come back down, fill this gap, and then bounce again. Let's go to Bitcoin before I go to Tesla. Okay, so Bitcoin, nice breakout, prices above all moving averages. It's consolidating, okay? It's trying to make a flag. So it's it's not that bad. Okay, just consolidating before it can do the move higher. So look what happened here. It made a move, consolidated for like a week, and then went higher. So that's very normal with Bitcoin. Whenever it makes huge move, you can see it here made huge move, consolidated, breakout again. So here had a little pullback. So yeah, so nothing is bad. Just consolidating for price for moving averages to catch up. Let me get rid of this. This is 1 hour chart. Again, you can see here just consolidating, and now averages are catching up to here to Bitcoin on 1 hour chart. Ethereum also very bullish in front of some resistance here, all right? So that's why it's again just consolidating, waiting for Bitcoin to do its move, and it's going to eventually break out. In terms of futures, BTC futures, just keep in mind, sorry about that, this 1 hour gap here, Tuesday had a gap up, so it's still not filled. So they could bring it back to fill this gap. That will be around 91,785, and then they will continue on. In Ethereum chart, say that gap is around 1707. So we look at CME futures just to get an idea of gaps. So it's pretty good to have an overall picture. Tesla, bad earnings, but you can see extremely bad earnings, 34% down on earnings, and then revenue is 10%, almost 9.1% down. Still, it's up 5.37%, unbelievable. Uh, Elon Musk said some good things about future and how he's going to leave Dodge and other things. So investors like that. So they're looking into future. So also there's Taxi coming in Austin, Texas in June. So investors are pretty optimistic. Now there are gaps here on the yellow line. You can see gap around 267, gap around 277, 330. My eventual target is here, this big gap down around 402.25. So I don't care whatever happens, I will hold it as long as possible. And it could come back to fill this gap, yesterday earnings gap too. Just keep that in mind, okay? So that gap is around 2238.04. So they could bring it back, fill this gap, and then bounce. So who knows? But we'll keep an eye on that. In terms of FANG stocks, again, same story. Gap up, Apple. Netflix was just consolidating, still made a new high. Meta was massive gap up yesterday. Amazon also was up 4.28%. So all of these stocks were open on a gap up. Any news can bring these back and fill some of these gaps. So just keep that in mind and have an open mind. ServiceNow had earnings, and I believe it's pretty good. So now it's opening. Um, it's opening on a gap up. I haven't personally read about its earnings, but it's here. Okay, it's opening on a gap up, so probably it's going to start filling some of this gap. Yeah, before last time it was bad earnings, so it was gap down, and this just kept going lower. And before that also it was good earnings and just kept going higher. So I think bottom is in on service now, so it's going to start an uptrend. NVDA kind of flat at the moment, so again same story here, gap down, multiple gaps up. AVGO, same thing here, gap down, multiple gaps up. Well, one gap up, it's two gaps here, so huge potential. Toronto Stock Exchange looking nice, finding some resistance uh, at the near highs, getting an 8 count sell signal. Hang Seng Index also some resistance, 9 count sell signal. Could be filling this gap around 21,768. Now, if they want to bullish, some news comes between US-China relation getting better, then it's going to start pumping higher. Bond market again also had a gap up. Today looking nice. TLT is looking very healthy, up 0.81%. ITB Home Builder gave everything back yesterday, so interesting. Commodities, oil rejected in front of this trend line yesterday. Natural gas looks like it wants to fill this gap around 2.79, so that's where it's heading. Gold, again, this was a blow off top. So usually blow off top goes like this, top, and then have a lower high, and then kept going lower. All right, so we'll see if this happens. There are a couple of gaps here. One gap is on 2700. We'll see if we go that far. Silver also consolidating. Copper will follow gold. Sugar is in the buy zone. Nice area here. Wheat is in front of this trend line. Corn by the dip. Dollar still weak. Not able to close above this previous resistance. So back tested it and now failing again. AMD looking nice. So tech stocks, like same story everywhere, like a gap. Yesterday's gap is still there everywhere. So we'll see how this session goes, all right? And then lastly, VIX. We'll keep an eye on VIX. VIX made a lower high, going lower. A crush in VIX means we are starting to fill this gap around 22, 21. That means pump market will start pumping, okay? So keep that in mind. Okay, guys, that's it for today. If there are any particular stocks you want me to review, put a comment with the stock's name. And if you want to know more about these zones, very easy to trade, buy and sell zones, click the join button in the description of this video and join my Discord channel. And let me know your user ID in the comment, and then I can move you to members only section where I share buy and sell zones for all the stock. You can see Tesla, for example, we were here in the red zone. We should have shorted it or got out and took profit. We would like to buy Tesla here in the green zone. So things like that. All right. All right. Take care. Bye.